Welcome back to Mountain Connections. Right now we have one of my favorite people right here in studio. Allison Page, the founder of Trail Talk, is a therapist. Important discussion about your mental health right now. Allison, how are you doing?
Well, like I said, as I came in, I'm probably doing as well as everybody else. Suffering from the human condition the last couple of years have been rough.
They absolutely
really
have
rough.
been.
Yeah.
How are your clients doing, and just in a kind of a summary way, with this ongoing pandemic? You're right, it's been such a struggle, and now the indefinite of it, it feels like it's never going to end. What are you hearing from your clients, from the people you work with?
Kind of a mixed. One is we're all weary. We have fatigue over this issue, and then there starts to creep in doubt, and then the re-entry after things lightened up a little bit before the Delta variant came on the scene. There was some trepidation about going back in, like how do I reassimilate? How do I re-enter? Because many introverts really liked being isolated because it was more comfortable. They didn't have to worry about social events. And so it was a real mixed feeling of people saying, I just don't know how to re-enter, it's uncomfortable. I remember the first time I went to the airport, I was really nervous. I just didn't know what the rules were. You know, should we wear masks, not wear masks? You know, just so many variables to pay attention to that it's overwhelming.
And of course, that moment where you find yourself with a bunch of people. My daughter was at a football game, and it was really hard for her to be around all these people. You're right, it's a huge adjustment. And also the unpredictability of what's next can really throw everyone for a loop.
And I think that's the issue right there, is the unpredictability. And how do we just say this is reality right now, and it's going to be, we're untethered from the shore, and we've got to put our anchor down as much as we can and try to stay grounded amidst a lot of unpredictability.
And that's an incredible image, to try to stay grounded. So that being said, how do you know if you need to see a therapist? What are some signs that maybe your anxiety, your depression aren't just because of the pandemic or because of life, that it's gotten to the point where you need to talk to someone else, you need that professional help? Yeah,
I think one thing that I want to impart is that we fall in and out of mental wellness. So there's a lot of stigma around seeking help. We're professionals, you and I, we show up at work, we're well groomed, you know, we kick butt at work, but boy, we go home and there's things falling apart behind the scenes. And how come I can't do the same thing at home? And so there's a lot of stigma around it, like it's a character flaw or there's a weakness. And I think if we can just really switch the paradigm and say, I'm not mentally ill, I fall in and out of mental wellness, just like a virus, you know. I'm not talking COVID virus, but if we get a cold, sometimes we have to get treatment even though it's not terminal. I have to get temporary treatment. And so I really encourage people to think of seeking help, getting a different opinion, having someone outside, an objective person, because you can go talk with your girlfriends, family, loved ones, and they're going to tell you what you want to hear. Yeah, you're right. It's like, well, maybe you're not. Maybe you need to have your thinking challenged. Maybe you need some new tools for your self-regulating toolbox. So I think it's all about functioning. If you're really finding that you're not functioning and you've got some relationships that are really struggling and you can't, you know, like exercise works, get outside and run. But if you can't get out of bed to put your sneakers on, that's when you need help. It's all about functioning.
It absolutely is. And I think many people know what the steps are to be mentally healthy and well. So when you know what you need to do, why is it sometimes so difficult to just do it?
Well, it's really easy to numb it out. So a lot of times we're kind of afraid of ourselves. We're not comfortable with being with ourselves. And so we choose substances of any kind. It's not just alcohol and other recreational drugs, but it's food, it's sex, it's porn, it's anything that we're all dopamine junkies. We all need reward, right? And so we seek reward. And so when we get stressed and nervous, we just want to go to our dopamine source, instead of being able to be alone with our emotions. And so I tell people, I said, I work with my clients and say, we have to be able to feel and think at the same time and not be afraid of those strong emotions. Nobody likes strong emotions. Grief hurts. Fear, anger, I don't want to be angry. To be careful, so people have different, have difficulty dealing with strong emotions, and it's really coming to terms with it's okay to feel. It's how you choose to respond versus reacting to it. So these are the things that you're going to learn in a therapy relationship that you might not pick up, and it's all about readiness too. Sometimes it's like I kind of want to go to therapy, but it's like no, I'm ready to make some changes.
And I know you've pointed this out before when we've spoken to you on the show before in the past, but it's not just mind over matter. So many people think you can just pull up your bootstraps, just get over it, but it's obviously just not that simple when you're struggling with mental illness.
Yeah, and I like to call it mental health issues. I think verbiage, phraseology, really we pathologize ourselves. And what happens is when we're trying to find a reason, and there usually is a root cause, and that's what you're talking about, the genetic signature, the genetic loading. An anxious mommy has an anxious baby. And so these are learned behaviors too. So there's all kinds of theories, but I really, being a nurse practitioner, I have a very kind of unique model of care. It doesn't work for everybody, but that's like when you look for a therapist, it's really a match, It's a very vulnerable, intimate relationship, but it doesn't work for everybody. So you have to kind of be your own mental health care advocate and seek out someone that you can feel safe with.
And I know that you're trying so hard to help people understand there's no shame in this. There shouldn't be a stigma around getting help for your mental health. It's just like your physical health. Mm-hmm. So if someone feels like they might need that extra help, they might need to reach out to a therapist, to a professional, but they're hesitating, what would you tell them?
Go do a reconnaissance. Make an appointment with a few different providers, see what their model of care is, and that's why my model of care works so well for people, because it feels less clinical. And sitting down with a stranger, looking someone eye to eye, can be intimidating. That traditional therapy office is not the answer for everybody. So that's why walk and talk therapy is such a powerful modality, because nature heals. We know that when we go outside, there is a release of endorphins. I mean, this isn't replacing exercise. It's side by side, intermittent eye contact. It just feels less intimidating, less clinical. So I just think you have to really see what could, some people no, I want to go into the office, I need containment. Everybody's different.
It is different for everyone, but have you noticed that there's something about, you mentioned being out in nature, it's healing, but also walking and mm-hmm. being able to open up. Are people able to open up a little bit more in this format?
Wow, it's really individual. I have some people that just love it and just feel much more comfortable talking about things when they're outside, and also just again affording intermittent eye contact. Just if you're a nature lover and you're outside a lot, it just feels much more comfortable. I've got other people like, oh my gosh, really fearful of the stigma. What if someone sees me? What if someone hears? And I tell people, I said, believe me, if people are listening, they need therapy too, because most people are so self-absorbed, because we're all suffering together, and we may look like we get it all together, but there's a lot of things happening behind closed doors, and we're all kind of self-absorbed. So when we're walking and talking, I talk about, I've been in town for so many years, I see someone out every single time I'm out walking, and everybody knows I'm working, and it's like, yeah, you go, and I call them emotional tune-ups. We don't have to be embarrassed about it. Just like going to have a physical, you get routine physicals, your kids do. It's preventive health care. Emotional tune-ups are the same thing. And I think if we can really switch how we think about it and not think about it as an illness, but as like, I just need to get back on track. I fall out of, like going to a chiropractor, you just kind of need to be adjusted.
And we are just about out of time, but if there's one thing that you would recommend people to do to help with their emotional health on a daily basis, what would that be? Talk
about it. And don't be ashamed that I'm down, I'm depressed. And it's like, then make a decision about what you want to do about it. Because we can complain and complain and complain, but boy, we just stay stuck. So talk about it, don't be ashamed, and make a call.
Such good advice. How can we get more information about you, about Trail Talk? I know you're in different places now. You're easy to find.
Yeah, trailtalk.com, and yeah, we're open to new clients. I'm changing up my model. COVID has made some changes within my business too, but if they go to my website, that's how they're going to find me.
Well, thank you so much, Allison. We always love having you here.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate these open talks about mental health.
It's great to see you. Thanks.
All right, you can head to Trail Talk online, get all the information, or if you just are feeling like you need to see a therapist, there's many resources right here in Park City. You can head to Connect Summit County. They have a great database of people that you can see. You can also head to NAMI, N-A-M-I. They're a national organization for mental health and mental illness. So make sure you reach out and get that help that you need and talk to someone. Once again, thanks to Allison Page from Trail Talk for being here today. We'll be back with more here on Mountain Connections right after this break.